Post-COVID-19 leadership strategies for leaders. The phrase "the world is changing" is boring. It is said that if you turn on the TV, you just need to go online. The fourth industrial revolution will come. However, it is not easy to feel what the future will look like. A rosy world with drones in the sky and autonomous vehicles on the road, or a great world in which evil artificial intelligence dominates humanity, are the two extremes of the future that ordinary people imagine. Then, what kind of future society should corporate managers dream of post COVID 19, and what should they prepare for? In this article, we'll take a look at some post COVID 19 leadership strategies for leaders. First, let's take a brief look at the current aspects of corporate management. The technology levels is in the 21st century, and the MC generation is already advancing as the protagonist. Most companies still believe in the business management method created in the 20th century and the management philosophy of 19th century Henry Ford era. The business environment of a company changes rapidly, and it suffers from the fact that the management philosophy and operating method cannot keep up with the speed. It is the COVID 19 situation that clearly revealed such a phenomenon above the water surface. It is vital to know post COVID 19 leadership strategies to face the new normality. Due to COVID, many companies were forced to work from home. We have witnessed many of the ways and systems of work that have been in operation for over 100 years become meaningless within just a few months. Many bosses have a lot of these concerns as they suffer from COVID. If the virus does not subside in the future, should we continue to allow telecommuting? If allowed, how many days per week would you allow? Should I use Zoom as a meeting tool then, or should I use WebEx for security reasons? There are many cases where most of them stay at this level. As many scholars have already pointed out, even if the COVID vaccine is developed and returns to the real world, the trend of this change will not go back to the old days. Looking at the current pace of change, 5 to 10 years later, our appearance may be a world that is fundamentally different from today, which is incomparable with working from home or wearing a mask. The future is dark for countries and companies that are unable to read this trend and are contemplating how to quickly return to the past in the post-pandemic. Unpredictable, richness, exponential change. VUCA, Post-COVID-19 Summary. Volatile, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. Compared to this, if you ask me to select the characteristics of the future society and company, I would like to suggest three keywords below: unpredictability, abundance, exponential change. The characteristics of these keywords are that, for some groups, they represent endless opportunities, but for others, they can bring enormous anxiety and crisis. It's the organization's leader that develops a strategy suitable for the external environment, recruits individual members who have the organizational capabilities necessary to execute the strategy, and can continuously develop the organizational capabilities. This is how it creates a culture and system in which those members can immerse themselves. This is the most important task to be done. If so, what should a manager do now to quickly read the above three characteristics and prepare the organization for which he is responsible? A CEO concerned about his organization's future should definitely adapt to post COVID 19 leadership strategies. The CEO must take care of five changes. 1. Changes in organizational structure. If the way you work has changed and your organizational structure does not change accordingly, you will soon return to the way you worked. Post COVID 19 leaders must redesign their organizational structure. Geographical and physical boundaries are now meaningless. it is more likely that most of the work will be done on a project basis rather than functionality. It is also necessary to review the past span of control. There is no right answer, but we need to recreate the optimal structure for our organization and business. 2. Changes in workforce structure and strategy. Talent strategies and structures that fit into the exponentially changing technology world are needed. Talent strategies can be broadly classified as build, buy, borrow strategies. In the past, it was a strategy to hire talented people and make them suitable for our organization, buy and make. Now, however, the strategy is mainly to buy and use verified talents. Nonetheless, in a rapidly changing technology environment, it's difficult to find and hire such talent quickly, and it's impossible to know how long their skills will be meaningful. And most of the key talents in our business are very likely to exist outside. If so, you have to quickly find the talent or technology partner you need for your strategy and use a borrow strategy. The supply of these talents is expected to increase sooner or later, as highly skilled professionals are expected to change the way they work and the types of employment. 3. Reawareness of assets. In the past, the first thing to do to expand the business was a capital investment in buildings, offices, and machinery. Large capital investments enabled economies of scale and increased barriers to entry to prevent competitors from entering. However, due to such large-scale capital investments, it may be difficult to advance into a new area or to respond quickly to changes in the external environment. With the recent revitalization of the sharing economy, these problems are being solved and new opportunities are being created. At the same time, it poses a serious threat to existing dinosaur companies. We witnessed the Marriott, the world's largest hotel owner, giving Airbnb the throne in an instant. In other words, it is necessary to review strategies for actively borrowing assets required for core business areas, not just renting one asset that is treated as a low-cost value as in the past. 4. Changes in communication strategy. We have lived and operated on the basis of face-to-face communication for hundreds or thousands of years. In an uncontact economy, the relationship between the communication subjects is completely different. It is necessary to recheck the basic elements of communication called sender-receiver-message channel. In particular, focus on communication channels, instead of relying on team individuals for all communication face-to-face as in the past. It is necessary to review and organize communication channels at the level of company, sector, team, personnel, with a new layer of online. An important post-COVID-19 leadership strategy consists in making messages several times clearer than in the past, while putting a special effort to consider the listener's condition and emotion. 5. Leadership. It's of paramount importance that executives who lead the entire organization are at the center and convey confidence in the future of the organization. However, something to emphasize here is the leadership of individual members and the management of frontline organizers who spend the most time with them. First of all, if the head of the organization is anxious and not at the center, members can never be immersed. Management should actively empower the heads of the organization so that they can trust and lead their members more than before. This is a must for a post-COVID-19 leadership type. Empower does not mean simply to delegate business authority or to lower the voting rights under regulations. You really have to trust them and give them the job. Most of the anxiety felt by management and organization leaders during the home process after COVID is that I am anxious because team members are invisible, and members quickly notice the feeling and spread quickly. Leaders need to be able to quickly notice these situations and demonstrate new leadership. New normal. It is the era of the new normal. As COVID is showing signs of calm, movements to go back to the past are seen everywhere. This is a very natural process. As mentioned above, the organization structure and the way of working have not changed. The current situation is inevitably uncomfortable for everyone. If left unattended, it will go back to the way it was. If so, when another typhoon strikes, we will be exposed to this change again. The problem is that while passing through a dark tunnel, the bright light outside the tunnel is hard to see. At this time, companies should thoroughly consider what members and leaders are uncomfortable with, what causes them to fear. Also, become a true leader who leads the organizational design, institutional design, and communication for the future. A true leader must learn to lead with post COVID-19 leadership strategies.